Welcome here. Hope you're enjoying yourselves in this Barcelona International Community Day. I thank you for being here. I'm Janita, and I've been recently appointed Chief of Communications at Vola, which is a net tech startup. That's why the organization hasn't had enough time to change it on the title. But here we are with these incredible Barcelona ambassadors, and we're just going to present themselves. We have Alessandra Speranza in there, who's the co-founder of Club Art, and she's going to talk about that a little bit more soon. Then we have Sam Zucker, who's a videographer, chef, writer. What can you do, Sam, right? We have Elizabeth Sher in here, who's an activist. She's also a brilliant TikToker. I'm a huge follower of her, by the way. And here we have Davide, who's from Italy, and he's a blogger and a tour guide, and he's an author too, from the city of from Italy, and he's in here based too, right? So first of all, I would like to ask you guys a really quick question, which is basically how long have you been here in Barcelona? And if you want, we can start with Alessandra, and then each of you can answer to that.
Just a question. It's a little hard to hear you.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to hear people when asking questions? I don't know if I'll be able to hear anyone.
Okay. Whenever they ask a question, I'm going to be the
Speak
one.
Loudly.
Yeah, telling you. Okay. So, how long have you been here in Barcelona?
I came here 5 years ago, 2016, actually.
Mm-hmm. Sam?
I've been here since 2013. So in April, it'll be 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here since about a year and a half.
And Davide?
I live in Italia and here for tourist affairs.
Okay, nice. And I would like to start with a fun fact or some sort of thing like that. Did you experience some sort of cultural shock the first time you were in here in Barcelona? Is there any fun anecdote you can tell us, or you can tell the public in here?
Yes, actually, I was really crying when I knew that I had to come here in Barcelona, because I wanted to go to Berlin so badly. and I was, in my mind, I had the image of Spain with botellón and, this kind of, idea of Spanish society. But then when I arrived in Barcelona, I figured out it's completely another world. It's really multicultural, and definitely when I went to Andalusia, then I understood that was the real Spain. So yeah.
I don't think I had any culture shock that affected me directly when I arrived, but it's very different here than where I'm from. I'm from Boston, USA. And I think I always knew I would like it here before I ever came here, because I studied Spanish, and I'll get into my backstory a bit more, but I just instantly knew it was very different from where I was from, and I felt instantly comfortable and knew quickly that I wanted to stay. So it was very clearly different from what I was used to, but exactly what I was looking for, and it met my expectations, and I stayed. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a funny story, but for me, it was really surprising to see how international Barcelona was. There's so many people from all over the world here, very open-minded. And I guess something that was different for me culturally was the calçots. I tried them last year in the mountains with friends. It was a very messy experience. I didn't think the sauce and a spring onion would be good together, but it was really nice, so that was fun for me.
That's so cool. And Davide?
I came here for a vacation, and I fell in love in Barcelona art, architectural, and cultures. And I started to make a photo and send in Instagram profile or different social media, and now I'm author of the first guide novel.
That's so cool. So each of them has prepared a small presentation about themselves and their work. We're going to start with Davide, right? So I don't know if you want to stand up and go there for the presentation, or...
Photo presentation.
Okay.
So, si sposta? Ah sì? Est?
Yes.
Questo? Vale.
Sí.
Good morning and welcome everybody. I'm Davide Centonza. I come from Italy, Bologna. Um, um, how did I discover Barcelona? I'm in 2005. I came here as a simple tourist and with some old back friend in 2005. And I knew nothing about Barcelona, tourist, modernism, Catalonia, even Gaudí. Maestro, please me forgive me. And after this holiday, I came here many times, and I started to visit a lot of museums, case moderniste, and but when my blog started, it all began 4 years ago at Bologna airport. In the first picture, I'm here with my mom, my dad. Suddenly, I heard El vuelo con destino Barcelona sale desde la puerta 3. Destino, destiny. In Italian, destino in Italian means something that is not planned but has to happen. I said, Barcelona is my destiny. I decided to create an Instagram profile where I could explain my love for Barcelona with photos, and after I started to create a blog that today is a real font of information for the tourist, Italian tourist. And then in 2019, I started to collaborate with Barcelona Tourist Office, and reading my blog, they saw that was not a simple blogger or influencer, but someone who really loves in Barcelona. And as you know, the pandemic came and everything stopped, but not for me. I started to, I was in Italy and writing a guidebook. And thanks for the date at home, I was able to complete the guide, Destin Again. And the next one. But this is not just a simple classical guidebook, because first of all, the guide was created with the collaboration of all press office of Case Moderniste and many more. Even La Pedrera Foundation that sent me the photo of the guardian of Casa Milà that is on the cover for free. This is the most important collaboration. The guide is also the novel with the protagonist and the only person that who can cover the 4,000-year history of Barcelona is Hercules. You know who is Hercules? Hercules is a legend of Barcelona. Is the legend about the creator of Barcelona and his name. Barcelona, it means Barce, which means both, and Nona, which is 9. Like the 9 boat who Hercules lost under the hill of Montjuic. And I write this guide into 12 tours with maps and fun facts. And on the other hand, there is a novel, and the only protagonist, only person who can tell this long story of Barcelona is Hercules, who meeting characters we have invented and for tell the story of Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Now, what does it mean to be an influencer dedicated to one single destination? It means to be a part of the city. And even when the things are not very well, like during the pandemic, because it's a job that gives me the opportunity to meet people in love with Barcelona, his heart, his culture, his tradition. Like today, with this platea, telling you my story. Thank you.
Very nice, Davide. So now it's the turn of Elizabeth, who's gonna tell us her story, also being an activist and social media expert too.
Oh. It's a good job.
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me here. My name is Elizabeth Scher, or Liz. I'm originally from the United States, and I've been here since a year and a half. And before that, I was spending my master's in marine science for 2 years around Europe, in Belgium, France, and the Basque Country. So for me, it's still kind of funny to call myself an influencer, but in that regard, I like to influence ocean action, positive ocean action, because protecting the sea and learning about the sea is my passion. And so earlier this year, I moved to Barcelona because coming from the suburbs of New York, it's always been a dream to live by the sea. And I was really surprised there when I moved to find every morning that the beach was covered in trash. And in the last 5 years, I've lived in 5 different cities. And Barcelona, honestly, has been my favorite. I think we're so lucky to live by the sea, so close to the mountains, and it's filled with beautiful diversity and rich culture that David just explained. So when I saw this beautiful Mediterranean beach covered in trash every morning from the night before, especially during heavy COVID restrictions, when the bars were closed, people would come there to party and leave everything behind. And it wasn't just one bottle here and there, it was piles of trash. This photo is just a small glimpse of what that could mean. And instead of being mad about it, I thought I had to do something, because this is what I feel like I have to do in life, is to protect the sea. And I knew that I couldn't just do that alone, to address this issue alone. So I started to use the power of social media. Obviously, social media can have lots of negative aspects to it, but I think that if you use it in a positive way, it could generate positive change. And so I started doing cleanups and posting videos about this on TikTok, because I knew that that could reach a wider audience. And I wanted to make this idea fun, so I created this trash challenge, saying that for every follower, I would pick up 1 piece of trash. That way, if you follow me, you would contribute to 1 piece of trash, and you could also continue watching the journey of this whole story. So this idea, surprisingly, went viral back in March, and I ended up getting a lot more followers than pieces of trash I could pick up in my lifetime, or at least in a normal lifetime. So I said, okay, this whole idea was to generate awareness and change. So if you pick up trash and you comment on my video how many pieces, I will contribute that to the number. And this was really fun. I got comments from all over the world of people picking up trash and being inspired, and raising awareness about this issue in Barcelona. And this idea surprisingly reached the European Parliament. I remember one day I had a message from them on Instagram saying, hey, can you help us with an ocean campaign for World Oceans Day with your trash challenge? I actually thought it was like maybe a spam or something, because I was like, why is the European Parliament contacting me? I'm not even European, even though I wish I was. And so it was really fun. We had this big goal of collecting an X amount of number of pieces of trash before World Oceans Day. We ended up picking up around 800,000 in less than 2 weeks, but it was really all through social media. We had 33 people from 33 different countries contributing, and it was just a really true story to show that if you use your passion, you can make small differences around the world, can together make a really big impact, or at least change, someone's idea and how they view the environment, and hopefully their behavior towards the environment. So this led me to have a bigger influence or place here in Barcelona to help other organizations organize beach cleanups, and I've I guess you can say collaborated with other kinds of like-minded people and groups. So it's been really nice, because for me, I've always done this in my years studying marine science and the environment. It's always been something that I've done, but now it's actually reaching a community level of action. And since I'm just one person, I'm just an activist, there's already many groups here doing similar things. One day maybe I'll have my own nonprofit, but I wanted part of this session to also share with you ways to get involved, because that's what this whole conference is all about. So I wanted to share some organizations and groups here in Barcelona that do beach cleanups too. We have No Masculias. They focus on cigarette butts, because actually cigarette butts are made out of plastic. So this contributes a lot to the plastic litter. And they do very frequent cleanups around, and the organizer is very passionate. As well, we have Clean Beach Initiative. They've been doing this for, I think, about 2 years. They go every Saturday to Barcelona.cat, and they do cleanups, and it's a great way to make friends who also want to do the same. Of course, you have like Surfrider, which is a big ocean activist kind of organization in different cities. I was actually the chapter president of mine back in university in Florida, so they have one here too. And Oceanogami is a really cool new marine environmental consultancy. If you are part of a company or organization that wants to become more sustainable, it's a great way to reach out to them. They can help you get there, or also for maybe internships. And WWF often has conservation events. They work a lot with No Masculias too. And Boomerang is a startup that tries to reduce the use of single-use plastics in the takeout food industry. So because I don't have an organization, I wanted to share these possibilities with you to get involved if you wanted to, or even just see if there's a possible internship or ways that you might want to interview them. But again, if you want to follow me, continue following my journey, or collaborate, I'm very excited to do that and just create this bigger network for Barcelona to make it more sustainable and a healthier environment here, because the Mediterranean is a biodiversity hotspot and we should protect it. So that's all I have to say. Feel free to contact me.
Super nice, Elizabeth, and everyone, if you have any questions, jot them down, and we'll be able to get to that afterwards. Now we are going with Sam.
On one of the pages, there's a video, but since you can't hear it, maybe we'll just play 1 minute, just because it's mostly visual anyway. But I have a QR code here. I thought it's easier to access my website than to type it in or whatever if you want to take a photo. But again, my name's Sam Zucker, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts originally, and like I said, I've been in Barcelona almost 9 years. And my main profession, I would say these days, is I'm a photographer and a video creator, a filmmaker. I do a lot of commercial projects with local and international brands, mostly in the lifestyle and hospitality sector. I come from the world of hospitality in kitchens and restaurants, and food photography and restaurant work is still a big part of my life, as well as food writing and travel writing. When I say food professional, that is from the time I spent studying to be a chef in New York. So going back to university time, all of the steps in my life that led me here sort of played their role, and people think back on, was university worth it, or am I working in the field that I studied? It's sort of, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have ended up here, so it's all been relevant. And I started off actually studying arts and photography and music and Spanish in my undergraduate degree. And I graduated from Hampshire College. It's in Amherst, Massachusetts. It's a very small school. There were only 1,400 students. And it was a hippie school where there were no grades and no tests. It was pass-fail, and you did a thesis, and it was totally self-driven. And if you didn't want to do anything, you didn't, and you just sort of dropped out. So I excelled. And then after university, I started working in restaurants just to pay my bills, basically, working in the cafe. And then I started working as a full-time cook and became passionate about food and went to culinary school. So in 2 years after graduating university, instead of doing a master's in earth science, which is what I studied ecology and language, I decided to go to culinary school. So the master's was, I dropped that from my plans and did a 2-year program at a famous culinary school in New York called the Culinary Institute of America. It's in the Hudson Valley, about an hour and a half north of New York City. And I excelled at that because it was the opposite of my previous school, which was very loose and relaxed and kind of alternative, and this was militaristic and extremely strict, and you had to shave every day and clean your nails, and it was pass-fail, and you get kicked out for having dirt under your fingernails or swearing or something like that. And it was very extreme and hard, but I did well and I made a lot of connections, and I moved to San Francisco afterwards to study wine, actually. I did an intro-level sommelier exam to start in that direction, because I realized after culinary school that I didn't want to cook. But there's always room for people of all types in the hospitality sector, whether you're a waiter, a chef, a food writer, a food photographer, a restaurant owner. There's so many jobs that are involved in learning how to be hospitable, working in tourism, and all those things are things that I still do today, even though I haven't worked in a restaurant in 10 years. So I was in San Francisco after graduating, then immediately was given a job opportunity to be a teacher on a cruise ship teaching guests how to cook. So people would go on this luxury cruise line that was focused on gastronomy, and they would take cooking classes on the boat as like a recreational activity. And every port that we stopped in, we would do a food tour, buy ingredients, then get back on the ship and cook that local food. And I was just on the ship for 2 weeks as a guest teacher, because the woman that ran the course, that ran the program, went to the same school as me. So I was recommended by another connection that we had in common to be a tryout, basically. They might have hired me full time. It was kind of like a job trial. And I was paid, and it was 2 weeks from Miami to Barcelona. And we got to Barcelona in April 2013. And I had nothing to do the whole summer. I cut all my ties back in the US. I quit my job in San Francisco. I left my apartment, no relationship, nothing. I was 25, I guess. I think I was 25 years old. And I immediately loved Barcelona, like I said before. And I started looking for work. And my first job was at a catering company for a couple days to pay my first month's rent. And I met a bunch of expats, mostly from the US, at a networking event, and they helped me find that first job. Pretty much everything I have boils down to this one night where I met a few people, honestly. It's one of those crazy moments where you can trace your success back to this one decision you made. But I also worked for the Barcelona Metropolitan magazine, which is still going. I haven't written for them for several years, but I was the restaurant critic there for over 3 years. And in the time I've been here, I've written for lots of local and international publications, physical guidebooks, online articles, digital guidebooks. I've written a guidebook for Monocle and National Geographic and Eater in the United States, and I'm working on one with DK Publishing right now that'll come out next year for Barcelona. And I worked in marketing for 4.5 years before becoming freelance and just stopping doing other people's social media, which I hated, and just focusing on photography and filmmaking. Nothing I hated more than explaining to a client why their Twitter didn't grow more this month than last month. It was like it was soul killing a little bit, because most people don't need Twitter. I don't know, I'm just putting it out there, but your restaurant probably doesn't need Twitter. The whole time I've been in Barcelona, I've been a tour guide as well. People come on like high-end private food tours with me as a culinary personality and writer. They may have found me on Instagram or on my website, or found something I wrote. And on my website I have, I'm like going through the whole presentation right now on the first page, but I offer these food tours. I'll talk about that in a second. But this is the food tour sort of screenshot from my website. It's very small. I didn't know how big the screen was going to be. But you can also see my, I have 2 websites. One is samzucker.com, which is my photography, and then Zucker and Spice Travel is my Instagram, and more like the tourism-based and travel writing. I take people out and we talk about history and food, and it's very relaxed. I cater to people's needs, and I do it as an extra thing. I don't do it as a full-time job. I mainly just do it to make some extra money and because it's fun. And like I said before, I do photography in different sectors. This is kind of just some food photography of mine. I work with restaurants and hotels, and recently I've been traveling a lot. I work with Getty Images on their production team based in New York, but I've traveled all over the world in the last couple of years shooting for them. And I've been traveling every month since Christmas with an Austrian company that has an office here now, and we do masterclass style videos with Michelin star chefs. So like next month I'm going to Lisbon. This year I've been in Dubai, Berlin, Amsterdam, southern Italy, Slovenia, Cordoba, Barcelona, shooting with these famous chefs so people can learn from them online in this professional geared training app. It's called Gronda. Can you press play on this? I don't know if that'll work or not, but this is a video. We'll just watch a little bit of it. You won't really be able to hear, but it's also just a visual thing. It's I don't know if you can. It's okay. It might take too long anyway. It doesn't matter. You can go to my website, and in the portfolio videos, you can see this is one of my favorite things that I've done recently. It's a promotional video for a 2-Michelin star restaurant in Copenhagen, and I just thought it was a really beautiful video. It's like one of my favorite personal projects that I've done. Unfortunately, a lot of the work I do, I can't even put on my portfolio because it's like a buyout with a corporate client. I've been working recently with Airbnb, and they buy everything, and I can't touch it, basically. But the reason I'm an Instagrammer, the reason why I'm here, I guess, is because I have a lot of followers. Well, a lot, it's all subjective. I have close to 50,000. It hasn't gone up in a while. It's kind of like, since COVID, I've really not been so active, to be honest. I had a baby in March 2020, and she's taken a lot of my time. I traveled less, and I don't know, the state of the world and the state of social media is just not as easy to grow anymore, and I had a huge amount of success in the years I've worked at a marketing agency because I was really actively posting, and I knew the strategy, and I was like really into growing. In the last couple of years, it's been kind of stagnant a little bit, to be honest, but I still love sharing my photos, and people enjoy seeing my photos. I guess I influence people to get more into photography or to visit new places. I don't have a very good track record selling things on my Instagram. Like, it's not that type of page. But if you want to see some beautiful photos of places I go, you can follow me. This is obviously Barcelona. This is the Trinity College Library in Dublin. And this is Oaxaca, Mexico, just some of the places I've gone for work and leisure over the past couple of years. I also do portraits. These are a chef at the restaurant called Bros de Leche in Puglia, Italy. I shot recently in one of the sommeliers in Denmark, and a headshot that I did in the studio with just like a personal branding project. So I also do that, and product photography as well. A bit of everything. I try to focus in the hospitality sector, but I do like to dabble in a variety of different things. That's basically it. Any questions, feel free to ask afterwards. Thank you.
Well, didn't we all get a little bit hungry with those pictures and
Hi
wanted
everyone.
to visit everything?
My name is Alessandra. Actually, I don't have a presentation because, to be honest, when I get to know that we supposed maybe to prepare something, I was feeling a bit frustrated because in the past year I've been, I don't know, I spent like every day at least 3-4 hours on PowerPoint trying to pitch and fundraise for my startup. I'm from Italy, from the south of Italy, from Napoli, and I came here in Barcelona 5 years ago, as I said before, but actually it was just like for an internship. And then at the end, I started to work for tech companies, startups, and I really enjoyed, of course, the vibe of the city. I created a really strong community, and I think that compared to the rest of the guys here, I'm not an influencer, I'm not an Instagrammer, and actually we are trying to create an offline community, and that's why basically after like the first quarantine, I had like kind of an issue with the company I'm working with. It was an AI company, and then I decided some point to take everything that I learned in the past years with software, with mobile apps, and especially with relationship with customers, and together with two friends of mine from Italy as well, we built actually the first offline platform for emerging artists. We are located here in Barcelona, and even if these artists can actually create an online portfolio, can sell them artworks online, we really wanted to build this community locally, and that's why we decided to develop our business business plan together with some physical partners. So we have at the moment 30 locations in Barcelona between hotels, art galleries, cultural centers, theaters that are actually collaborating with us. And we are proposing to them emerging artists, new activities, new projects. So, and building this gap between exactly the offline environment and the online. So, actually, I don't know if we can put maybe a website. I would like to show you, or otherwise, if you want to join us after, we are on the other side of the room. We have a stand, a booth. We're doing an intervention with an artist from Caribbean islands, taking pictures of all the attendees of the event, and then trying to exactly a bit create a kind of a bit edit and customize these pictures in order to create this multicultural face of Barcelona city. We really know that it's a city full of international people, and what I love so much from the community I'm working with is that we really actually helping each other. We create a lot of synergies, and it's the best thing because we don't want to create any competition in what we are doing, we are creating something really interesting, putting together physical spaces, artists, and actually brands and organizations. So, well, I don't know, I think that, of course, I would like to learn a lot from the guys in terms of Instagram strategies and Instagram and other social media strategies, but I think that, as you also say, Sam, I think that the online world is changing a lot, and especially in the past 2 years, we've been affected by this social distancing and by this the possibility that we cannot actually look each other in the eyes anymore, and this is something that, especially in the sector I'm working with, is affecting people's life. So most of the professionals cannot actually work, cannot actually keep doing their own projects. So I'm very happy about what we've done in the past year, because we've been able to keep doing events, keep doing offline activities together, also in partnership with Ayuntamiento for the first time in April, when everything was in very hard lockdown, but in a safe way, in a respectful way, and let's say in an innovative way, because I think we need to find every time a place and a way to reinvent ourselves. And that's actually also what happened to me when I left the job. I am in my fixed job, and that's something really interesting that Barcelona give to me was the possibility to become an entrepreneur, to be supported by organizations, institutions, brands, and also there is a very, very interesting moment for all the innovative projects, especially related to technological services. So I'm really happy Barcelona gave me this possibility. Thank you.
So I don't know if we have any questions from the audience. If not, you can start warming up, and I have a few in here. Can you listen to me? Should I come? Okay, so I'm gonna come here with Alessandra first. And first, just a quick question: what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start their own business? And this is something that I also want to ask to Sam on the freelancer side. But if you can first just tell us about that.
I think that attitude is the first thing ever. There are very dark days. There were some dark days in this past year. I've been crying so many times. I was desperate. I was like, I can't do it. But I think that at the end, if you really believe in something and if you find a positive approach, you can always find people that helps you. And to be honest, it's really important to be humble and accept the support and help other people. So always ask for support around, and I think that exactly this city and this community is really easily open to give support.
And about you, Sam, you said that now you're working as a freelancer, right? Like, do you have any tip, because we know it's a tough kind of job to dedicate yourself to, like sometimes clients come and go. How would you say you've navigated this part of your life?
I think in some senses I've been lucky that I sort of built my personal brand on top of the brand of Barcelona, really, to start out. Like, photos of Barcelona, writing about Barcelona. Like, it was kind of like people would search, like some of my biggest clients I have currently, like I work, like I said, with Getty Images, and they are a production team. I mean, everyone knows about their stock photography, but they also create custom content for big brands like Airbnb, and they'll hire me to, I flew to Bali to do a Getty job, I flew to South Africa to do a Getty job, and these are big, like $100,000 web commercial things that I was like directing or shooting, and it's all because someone at Getty Googled like Barcelona photographer one time and found me and looked at my stuff and liked it and emailed me. And I had a phone call and did one shoot in summer 2019 with them, and then I became kind of their go-to in this area, and I've done so much work with them. And I don't know how they found me, to be honest, but it was, I think it's really important to share what you're doing. Like, share with the world. You don't have to post about it on social media necessarily, but that's the best way probably to share with a lot of people. But you know, just you can mention it. It's like as if you were in a conversation and you don't know if someone's interested in what you're doing unless you tell them what you're doing in the first place. So you know, you put yourself out there and you can start to build that network. And really my success comes from, one, just I kind of naturally rank, I guess, in Google search for Barcelona photographer writer, like in English. But also it's just, I have a network. A lot of my big breaks have come through people that I met at networking events, or friends of friends, or a person that I happened to mention something to, and 8 months later they send me a message and they don't even live here anymore, and they said, hey, I thought of you, I saw a job posting, it sounds perfect for you, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but like that turned into a 4-year job at an agency where I ended up being the most senior person before I left. So it's just kind of like, I guess it's being personable and going and it's hard now to network these days. Like, there was a networking event of the kind of brands and sponsors of this event, like earlier this month, and I went and I literally couldn't speak to anyone. I was like, I haven't done this in 2 years. It felt really weird. I didn't have anyone to network. I didn't have any reason to network. It almost felt awkward to me, and I left. To be completely honest, I didn't stay because I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know what I was trying to achieve. And I used to go to these networking events all the time. So either it's the times have changed or my professional life, or I used to just go to the networking events and drink with my friends and happen to meet people. I don't know, but I think it's still important to, if you want to be on your own, you have to first put it out there and be consistent with it. You know, don't just post about it one time. You know, it doesn't have to be amazing material. You don't have to have the best photos or write an entire blog post, but your Facebook friends don't know what you're doing unless you tell them about it. And then maybe one of them will connect you with someone else, and that's my advice. I mean, if you want to break free and be your own boss, first you have to find those opportunities. And for me, it's all been about networking. I've really spent no effort or money on marketing. I don't think I've ever spent any money on ads or anything. It's just building my body of work and my circle and keeping those good clients happy, basically. And paying a lawyer to do my autonomo legal things, because that was a nightmare and I couldn't have done it alone. So
yeah, that's definitely like a good tip too. And I think that regarding what you say about networking, the pandemic has definitely taken a toll on all of us. So I can really say that. Thank you for that. And Elizabeth, this one's for you. Do you feel that people are more aware of the threat that climate change is to humans, to the earth, thanks to social media, or like, do you feel that it has impacted your activism in a big way?
How social media?
How social media has impacted your activism, the way of like the way of yourself viewing like your activism? Has it changed like 5 years ago? Was it different? Like, have you seen that?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the question. It has changed a lot, I think. I studied marine science, and a big problem with science is the communication to the public. So one of my goals or passions is to communicate science to the public in a way that's relatable, in a way that makes sense for others to understand and to get involved or to care. And I think social media has that ability. Also, because of the pandemic, we've all reverted to social media to really connect with people, to create these networks that you were talking about. And I've been connected with people from all around the world on beach cleanups or sustainability, but we never met each other, but we're social media friends because we support each other in that way. I've also had people even here in Barcelona tell me, I've never realized how bad the marine litter issue here is in Barcelona.cat until I saw your photos. I would take pictures of a glass jar and it would be filled with cigarette butts. And the problem is here, and I'm a person who, this is like my passion, so I see it. For me, it's very normal to see it. But some people, they're not thinking, oh, look at the ground and see if there's trash. So when you bring these, your passions or issues to attention through videos or other kinds of content, it becomes more visible to other people. And I think that's led the idea of sustainability grow in society. And before being sustainable was really about buying the best product or getting, it was a very specific audience, and I didn't like that. I wanted it to be for everyone. You could be a young person, you could be an adult, and you could still do something to make a change without having to go buy the best product that reduces plastic waste or whatever. So I think social media has helped a lot in that regard.
Yeah, I want to say that since I've had a child, I would bring her to the beach and she was crawling, and I never noticed the trash and in the park, in Park Ciutat. I live in the Born, and we go to the park and we go to the beach, and she can't play on her own because she picks up cigarette butts and puts them in her mouth. She's a little bit older now, but back when she was still just crawling and picking everything up, we couldn't go to the city beach without her trying to put trash in her mouth. It was really bad.
Wow, yeah.
So I didn't even really notice it as much until then, when it was wow, we can't even find a place to sit without me spending 10 minutes clearing everything away.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's why it's amazing that people like you create and empower these initiatives to help, in a way, each of us have a better experience in the city. And David, you've written, you still know Barcelona, right? Yeah. What's next for you? How do you see yourself in the future? 5 years, for instance.
I would like to speak English, better not today.
Okay.
And I would like to work in Casa Modernista because there are a lot people from my country, Italy, that love art and the culture of Barcelona. And to have a network of collaborators to organize a lot of travel with Destino Barcelona. That's my brand.
Okay. Awesome. Do we have time for any questions in the audience, or just one or two? Is there anyone who wants to ask a question? Okay, this sir here. I'm just gonna listen to the question and.
Hi, my question is for Sam. And Sam, obviously you're a little bit of a rainmaker in terms of the whole kind of social media area.
She will.
Oh, you're going to tell me, sorry.
I'm listening to that, yeah.
I just can't hear you, but she'll tell the...
Or if it's for you, you can listen to it in here.
Sorry, go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, so Sam, this is a question for you. You're obviously a bit of a rainmaker in terms of social media, but I was intrigued by what you said about Twitter. So what are your misgivings about Twitter as an influencer?
About Twitter, I've never really been a Twitter user, and I certainly understand the value of it for some people. It can be really great, but when I was working in an agency, it felt like every client got sold this package of, you need a Facebook page, and you need a Twitter account, you need an Instagram, and we're going to post 5 times a day on Twitter and 3 times a day on Instagram or whatever it was. And just no one wants to follow a sushi restaurant in Barcelona on Twitter. Like, what are you posting about? So that was more my joke. Like, it just felt like busy work that really had no relevancy. And I just think Twitter in general, like, I don't use it. So like, I don't know. I'm not going to ask about like strategy or anything, but I just felt like there was a time where everyone felt like they had to be everywhere, and it was like, the more you post, the better, and it was just, sure, like this time was awful, and yeah.
Yeah, I guess now Twitter is like all filled by journalists, either journalists or people who work in tech, so I really get your point, Sam. Thank you very much for being here for this time. Thank you to the audience too. You know where to find them, and I just hope you keep following their journey. It's super inspiring. Thank you guys for this. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you.